Hi there, I'm Angela. Welcome to Friday Sews. Hi everyone, happy Friday to you all. Hope your weekend's off to a great start. And I want to say a thank you to Jen, who's the creator of the hashtag Friday Sews. As you guys probably know by now, this is where we all chat about how our past week went, how we did in our sewing room, how life was for us, and I look at it as a way for us all to kind of just unwind, relax, and kind of settle down for what might or might not have been a crazy week. Either way, it's kind of a way to ease us into the weekend. So I'm so glad that you guys are here. Special thank you to anyone who's able to join the live chat. It's so much fun for me, at least. I hope it's fun for you guys to meet up in the chat room and just talk to each other like in two-way real-time conversation. I love that. That's so much fun for me. Hope it is for you guys too. So I do have some sewing updates to share with you guys and a few life updates. So let's get right into it. Before we get right into it, I do realize I owe you guys a video on sorting all of my fabric. That is coming, and what I have today is a little sneak peek at what constitutes the vast majority of my fabric stash. So I'm going to share that with you guys, and I've kind of laid it all out on my cutting table just in preparation for the sorting process, which I will film that or record that to share with you guys. So enough about that. Let's get into the sewing updates. So as you may know, I'm working on a pair of pants. It's a Vogue pattern, and I did do a muslin last week, and I'm glad that I did because I found out that the size that I cut was a little bit too snug. So given that, I added some to the seam allowances and went ahead. I was pretty generous with what I added to the seam allowances before cutting into my good fabric, and went ahead and cut the pieces out of my good fabric and basted them together. So I did just go ahead and do a basting rather than going into the final stitching. And what I found interesting, that the pattern specifically recommended that you baste the pieces together. Well, first that you add up to 1 inch of allowances to the side seams and the inseam of the legs, and then that you baste the pants together and do a fitting. So I really don't recall seeing a pattern like strongly suggest that before. I'm still, you know, fairly new to sewing pants, but I do have my pants basted together. I have them here. I'm going to try to back up and show you guys. I won't be able to back up that far because there's the door right there. And I did add the 1 inch seam allowance to the side seams and the inseam, and it was a little bit big, and I had to end up taking them in quite a bit. And I also ended up taking them in pretty significantly at the center back at the waistline. Sorry about that. I had to make some camera adjustments. I got this new, it's like a handheld device that helps stabilize your camera, and I just use my cell phone camera for these videos. I mean, it does a pretty decent job. It's not the latest greatest cell phone, but it does a pretty decent job. But this device is meant to kind of help stabilize the phone or the camera so that you don't get like the wobblies or the shakies. And it has a tracking feature on it that's supposed to like connect to like your face or whatever object that you choose. And if you move, then the thing like moves with you. I'm still kind of feeling my way for that. So I hope that it's not affecting the way the video is coming out. Apologies if the video is kind of all over the place. I will definitely get some more experience with using this device, and it'll get better. So on my last video, I think it was my last video, or at least a very recent video, I kind of put the question out there to you guys on what I should use for the pocket lining for these pants. And there were so many good suggestions, and I thank you guys for that. That's one of the greatest things that I'm finding about having a YouTube channel, is that we can all help each other out with suggestions, thoughts, ideas. I love it. So thank you guys so much. What I ended up using, in the interest of trying to use what I had on hand, was this sort of like it's a tan colored quilting cotton, just a solid. And I think it does a pretty good job at preventing show through of the pattern, since the pants have a white background and there's a strong print. The pattern actually did put a recommendation on there that if you're using a white fabric, to use more of a neutral color lining for the front of the pocket here. And I think that this did just a great job. I'll hold it up so you guys can see. So that's where the pocket is, right there. Yeah, I think it makes a nice solid like underlayment. You can't really see any pattern or the print come through. So I was glad that worked out. And I already had like a little, I maybe had like about a half yard or so of that cotton, plenty enough to do like 2 pocket facings. So it was fine. It worked out fine. And I'm really glad that it did. So I'm hoping to get the waistline fitted on this. So I'm totally changing the pattern, the way the waistband is on this. I'll go more into that once these are finished and I do a little bit of a pattern review. But because I've changed it so greatly, I'm kind of like not even looking at the pattern now. I'm kind of just doing my own thing. So the way that they had you do the waistband and the elastic, I didn't really care for it. The last pair of Vogue pants that I made kind of did it that same way. And I wasn't real crazy with the process of making it and how the final pants turned out. So I'm kind of just doing this, I kind of shortening that waistband and then just making a casing for the elastic to go through. And when I do the reveal and the review on these pants, I'll go more into detail about that. So I just need to alter, since I've made so many alterations to the pants, as far as fitting adjustments, I'm going to have to change the waistband pieces that I cut out. So I just need to get that done and make sure that that fits and everything's like good to go there. Then I can take it all apart and stitch it together. Or maybe I won't have to take it apart. No, what I'm gonna do where the basting line is, because I made alterations, I think I'm just going to, with the basting still in place, where I keep like shrinking them in, because I added, like, per the pattern, adding that 1-inch extra seam allowance was way too much. I have like a couple of different lines of basting going down the side seams. So I'm going to use the line where the right basting line is, that fits me the best, and then just cut, like, and adding 5/8 inch on, and then take them apart and stitch them back together 5/8 inch. That way I can get rid of all that basting thread, and I feel like it'll be much cleaner doing it that way. I'll let you guys know if that just gets way too complicated. Yeah, I feel like it makes more sense in my head than what's coming out of my mouth. Anyway, so the other sewing update I have to share with you guys is I did go to Joann's when they had a Vogue pattern sale. I just got one pattern. This was one of my Vogue picks for their summer collection. I'll put a link to the video that I did right up here, where I kind of showed a few of the Vogue new patterns that I liked. And this was by far my favorite. This is V1630. And it's definitely my favorite out of their new patterns. I love this dress. It's a designer Tom and Linda Platt. So you only get just the one option there. It's just the dress. And it doesn't even come in different lengths, although I'm sure you could shorten that if you wanted to. I think it's really pretty, although I definitely would not do it in white. I feel like you can see through it too much and see like the seam allowances. It's not like my cup of tea, but I love the style of the dress. I really love the collar, especially take a look at the back there. It really shows off that collar. So I don't have any plans to make this up right away, but while it was on sale for $5.99, I went ahead and grabbed it. And that's pretty much it as far as what I did sewing related this past week. I went ahead and turned off that tracking feature on this new device. I feel like the camera was kind of like all over the place, and I hope that that didn't interfere with the video too much. At this point, it's too soon for me to know until I start editing. If it did, I apologize. I will get better with this new thing, or else I just won't use that feature and keep the camera kind of static. Yeah, so the other, like the last sewing related thing that I wanted to share with you guys that I mentioned at the beginning of the video was to give you just a little sneak peek at what is the majority of my fabric stash. And I do have it kind of laid out here on my table, and I'll kind of, what I'll do is to insert a clip, like a separate clip, like into the video. It'll make more sense to do it that way. So let's take a look at that now. So here's what is most of my fabric stash in these, just these plastic bins, all resting on my sewing table. And I got to get this done pretty soon so that I can get my sewing table back for sewing. So this kind of gives you an idea of all the fabrics that I have. And this is most of my stash. What's not included in here are any quilting cottons, any quilting fabrics. That's kind of like a whole separate thing. And then I also have a few pieces of fabric that I've already pulled out of my stash because I have them designated for projects coming up soon that I'm planning to do. But other than that, this is it. So to give you guys a little bit of an idea. And in case you're wondering, so I started using these bins a couple of years ago when we redid both my husband's office and my sewing room / office, and kind of did like a cobbled together system for organization, and these bins are like a key part of that. And I'm not going to go into too much more detail on that because I want to include that on my sewing room tour, which I hope to do soon once I get all the fabrics sorted through, make it a little bit tidier to share with you guys. That's what we have in store as far as fabric sorting, and I will definitely let you guys know when that video is coming out. And yeah, I think my work's cut out for me, but I'll be glad I took the time to do this. My brain just functions better when things are in a state of organization, and when things are messy or I can't find what I need, it totally just like totally messes with me. So anyway, that's it as far as my sewing life. And in real life, it's still kind of about the garden because it is summertime. I'm doing a lot of harvesting right now, and also I'm doing a lot of succession planting. So as things like plants are kind of winding down or kind of reaching their end of life stage, I'm yanking them out and replanting that area with something new. So things that still have a chance to grow, develop, and can be harvested from up until our first frost, which usually happens about the end of October, give or take. Our average first frost here is October 25th. And although that does vary, that's just an average. So what I'm doing now is planting where I'm opening up spaces in my garden. I'm planting things that will grow quickly and reach maturity while I still have enough time left. So those are like the leafy greens like spinach, Swiss chard, kale, collard greens, lettuce, all those things that grow pretty quickly and that I'll get to harvest from. And some of those things will even still be good if we do get a frost. They might need to be protected like with a row cover or something like that, but a first frost doesn't necessarily mean the end of the line for those kind of vegetables. And also I'm going to try resowing some of the beans, like the ones that'll mature pretty quickly, like maybe 50-60 day maturity time. My beans took a real hit from the deer this year, and I'm finding that around here, at least the deer that hang out on our property, they love the beans and the cucumbers. That's what they go for. So needless to say, I haven't had much good harvest with either of those two things, unfortunately, but it's been good in some of the other areas. My peppers are doing great. Tomatoes did actually pretty good this year, so I was happy about that. And what else? Let's see, our hops plants are doing really well. Those will be harvested soon in case hubby wants to make beer for Thanksgiving. And I have sunflowers that are finally starting to bloom, just a few, but those are becoming my favorite flowers. For many years, peonies were my favorite. I just love those like big showy blooms. And I still love peonies, but since I've been growing sunflowers these last couple of years, I think they're kind of becoming my favorite flowers. And I'll pop a picture in of a couple of the sunflowers that have opened up so far. They just make me happy. They're just such like cheerful, happy flowers. Yeah, and we finally are getting some rain. We haven't had a whole lot of rain this summer. And it's been pretty dry for the last couple of weeks. And then this past week, we're finally getting a little bit of rain. So it's much needed and we're happy to have it. I'll put like a little clip of rain that happened this morning just before recording this. And you might find that fun or peaceful to watch. I love hearing the sound of the rain. And it's my dream to one day have a screened-in porch, just so I could sit out like on a lounge chair or something in my screen porch and listen to the rain, or if there's like a good storm that's happening, just to sit out there. I find it peaceful, although I know storms can be scary as well. And I'm not talking about sitting outside if it's like a raging lightning thunderstorm, but just enough to enjoy the sound of the rain coming down. And the only other thing that I can think of to update you guys in life was that this past week, my husband and I have started rewatching the series Firefly. Have you guys seen that? It's so good. It came out like a long time, like years ago, and I've only watched it through. It's just one season. I think there's like 14 episodes, and then it was canceled. And it's so good, and anyone who's a fan of the show cannot, like, have never been able to believe that it was canceled. It was such a good show. As far as like what type of show it is, it could be classified as sci-fi. I tend to think of it more as like a Western action adventure that's set in space with a good dose of comedy mixed in. I know that's kind of sounds like it's all over the place, but yeah, it's like, to me, it's a space Western action adventure comedy. It's good. If you like something that sounds like that type of a mix, I think that you would love Firefly. We have the series on DVD, but I'm sure it's probably available streaming, you know, on one of the different places. So, and they did end up making a movie. I think after the series ended, they made a movie. I've seen the movie, but just once, and frankly, I can't really remember too much of the movie. So after we finish watching this, the one season, I'm sure we'll rewatch the movie too. And the movie is called Serenity. So Serenity is the name of the spaceship that the main characters live in, fly around in, visit all the planets in. So it sounds very sci-fi spacey, and it does have that space element, but very strongly it's equally as much a Western as it is a space movie. So it's good, and there's a lot of like sarcastic humor in it. The characters are great and the writing's so good. So we are enjoying that, and be sad when we finish all 14 episodes. And I think one thing that I've loved about it is that waiting so long in between rewatching it, you forget a lot, or at least I do at my age. I forget a lot. So it's not exactly like watching it all over again for the first time, but it's refreshed enough that there are things that happen. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. And you enjoy it just as much as when you watched it before. So give that a look if that sounds like your cup of tea. And I do not have a featured channel. It was pretty busy this week with everything, so I didn't have a lot of time to put together, to find a featured channel and put together information on it. And so I haven't actually been watching a whole lot of YouTube this week, which YouTube is my TV, whereas my husband watches actual TV or Netflix or something like that. Most of the entertainment that I consume is YouTube videos, either sewing. I love watching all of you guys, gardening videos, health and nutrition. I watch a lot of that. But I haven't really even watched very much this week, so I didn't really have a chance to put together a featured channel. If you guys have any recommendations for featured channels that I could feature on my channel, put it in the comments below. I would appreciate that. I especially love finding like newer channels and kind of shining a spotlight on them. And it's kind of, sometimes it's hard for people to find your videos on YouTube. There's so many good YouTubers out there and so many millions of videos that it's a little hard when you're starting a channel for people to find your videos. So I love finding those up and coming channels and giving them just a little bit of a spotlight, and helps them out a little bit. So that's about it for this week. I hope you guys had a great week, and I hope that you have some good plans for this weekend. I hope that you're able to get some sewing in. And as for me, my husband and I are going to a flea market tomorrow. This will be the first one that we have been to in many years, so I'm excited about that. If I find anything good, I'll be sure and let you guys know about it next week. And other than that, we have a few home improvement projects, just small little things that need to be done. So hope to get some of those done, and hope to get more progress made on these pants. Hopefully I'll get them finished before summer's over so that I can wear them during the summer, since they are summer pants. Yeah, so other than that, that's about it. Thanks so much, you guys. I appreciate you watching. And until next time, bye.